I've found that I've built my tribe, people that are around me. And, dude, man, 95% of the people in my life have known me for, say, 20 years and less. You know, I eliminated fucking hordes, man. I got nothing to do with this shit. And when you just mentioned something about boundaries, I've put up the same boundaries, same rules apply. As far as I'm concerned, you can't just change the rules, man. It won't be a different outcome for you, bro. These are the fucking rules. Why should, you know, strangers be treat me up to this level? People within my so-called tribe are going to fucking disrespect me or treat me anything less. Fuck you, man. I don't need it.
We always get hurt by those closest to
exactly.
us, right?
So for me, just change the people who are closest to you, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The question is how far you're willing to go. You, obviously, the East Coast.
Well, yeah.
Well,
considering France at one point, like, you know, get
really?
the passports, getting culturalized, French culture and shit like that. But for us, I think the biggest thing is, like, people, like, you know, this whole notion of, like, structure but what I've recognized and what me and my wife say to each other is, like, we are home. Yeah. So a lot of other kids that have had to move several times and it was disruptive and whatnot, a lot of that has got to do with the state of the parents through those transitions. Fuck, got to move for work and it's very stressful and whatnot. Oh my gosh. But if home is the safe place and that's how it's meant to be, and this is the big thing, that the home is meant to be this sacred space where you can be yourself 100% of the time in our home that we grew up in. The reality is that our homes that we grew up in for a lot of us was the fucking battlefield where when you were yourself, it was used against you.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, when your vulnerabilities were used against you at times of rupture, where it's outside where you may need to have some kind of a shield because the outside world is usually cruel. But for most of us, we're recovering from fucking the inside world, inside our home. And we found safety sometimes in the outside of the world. Strangers, people that we didn't know that well, where we can confide in them. And so that's the big one for Jackie and I. It's like, doesn't matter where we go. We're always going to have fun. We're going to be fucking grounded. We're always going to make it work, yeah? And we'll get to a point maybe when they're grade 5, grade 6, when it's high school to determine, all right, are we going to homeschool, continue homeschooling? Or is it now finding a community where it's like, okay, let them be grounded in VCE, a blended type of version, whatever they're interested in, and then just hone in on, you know, whatever that is.
Dude, people overlook the fact that human beings are resilient as fuck and we're adaptable to any conditions. That's how we survived the fucking ice ages. You know what I mean? We should have been wiped out. We weren't.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Stone Age, Ice Age. We've survived everything this earth has fucking thrown at us because we have the ability to persevere and transition through different climates and shit like that. Yep. So when people fall apart because, you know, fucking, I don't know, man, there's a shortage on toilet paper. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You'll be able to get your almond milk tomorrow. Relax. Do you know what I mean? No, like, dude, I've said it.
Would you like soy today?
Oh, fuck, I can't stand soy, man. I've said it, like, I get the need for people to feel grounded and feel secure in having, like, say, a house that's, like, you know, base and all that. But at the same time, man, if you offered me a fucking job that it ticked all these boxes, but it was, like you said, in Sydney or fucking whatever, man, fucking full lease sign on my house, I'm gone. You know what I mean? It's a house. Who gives a fuck? Like, you're chasing dreams here. You're not fucking...
Yeah, man. We're chasing experiences, dreams.
You shouldn't be stuck to brick and mortar as far as I'm concerned.
Everything, all of that stuff is a construct. The safety is actually in here. That's his whole home. Home is here. The safety is here.
Yeah.
And if we can carry that wherever we are, then it's like we're meant to explore. Most of us... Here's the fucking kick. I heard this stat a little while back. I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's like... I think it's like 75, 80% of people live and die within a 25-kilometre radius of where they were born and where they grew up.
Yeah, that's scary to me.
I'm like, fuck. And I'm like thinking about, I'm in Dingley now. I grew up in Clayton. That's 4Ks. Fuck.
See, you know? See, dude, I left Clayton and my first place was in Noble Park, 5Ks. I just beat it.
Yeah. But no, 25. 25 is the, you know?
Exactly. Fuck. When I moved to South Bank, my mum's first reaction was, that's a bit far. And I said, is it? Yeah. I just said that. Is it? And she goes, well, no, not really. I mean, what is it, 20 minutes? I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. It is close. I'm like, yeah. Okay, we're talking about 20 minutes, man. We're talking about fucking 20 minutes. I go, you left Greece for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that burns me when there are kids like our age, that are approaching 40, 50, still tied to this nostalgia. I've said this 100 times. Nostalgia is an anchor that fucking, like, literally will derail, like, your biggest fucking... Dude, how many times do you reckon people have had this big dream, this big move, a love, something, and literally the spanner in the works is, oh, what's your mother going to say? It's like, are you fucking kidding? How big is your dream, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you actually...
Feel you, man.
Are these conversations, like, I mean, when you're doing your breakthroughs and shit like that, are these things that come up? Do people just start fucking, like, unloading? Or is it more just based on people regulating themselves? Because I see you as like a pseudo shrink at some point, like having a...
Yeah, it's interesting. It's people unload, but usually most people are stuck in the story, in the narrative. Yeah. And so my job is to get them out of the mind and into the body. So it's like hearing where they're trapped or hearing their conflict, and then it's like, okay, cool, well, let's get to the meaning. So ultimately, whatever's going on, wherever we're experiencing frustration or fucking there's venting, there's something going on. It's like, cool, my first question is, okay, what are you making that mean about you? The fact that that's happening, or they did this and this is going on, what does that mean about you?
Yeah.
And the person's like, and it's like, and then they've got to get to the meaning. Oh, but they're idiots. Yeah, I get that they're idiots, but what are you making it mean about you? The fact that they're saying that or doing this, what does it mean about you? Oh, that I'm not good enough or not worthy. And then we start to get into the core of whatever's happening on the surface is protection of whatever the core wound is. And it usually stems from not good enough, not worthy, not seen, feeling like a failure, whatever. And then when we get to that, that's when we actually start to get to the opening. So yes to that.
Yeah.
But my job is to get them out of that because that's where the suffering is.
If you look at, say, take your life, right, my life, 40 years snapshot, right? First 10 years are taken up by, say, primary school, developing, all that sort of shit. Next 10 years are like all high school, maybe TAFE, whatever, like that sort of block. So we've had essentially about 20 years of adulthood, yeah? In that 20 years, how many of those 20 years can you honestly say that you were satisfied with yourself and where your life was at? It's crazy when you look back at like sheer numbers.
I just did a post on it the other day. I haven't posted it.
Yeah. But
just talking about the high achiever, the perplexity of high achievement in that you achieve things and then it's like, what's next? Or that's not enough. Or, oh, yeah, but I could have done that better. So, you know, a lot of my life was that. I'd achieve certain things, but wasn't able to sit in...
Actually relish the afterglow of it,
yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't have a dart and just sit there and like just soak it in.
Yeah, I mean, I may and, you know, have a big night, but then it'd be like straight away on to the next thing. That's because it didn't fill the void. So I kept chasing things externally to try to complete me.
Yeah.
And so it's just an empty well. I always say to my clients, it's like you're trying to get water from an empty well. Just
how long do you I mean, given all the work you've done, let's say you're in the healthiest point you've ever been, like mentally, right? How long do you reckon you've been in that point? Where so it was like, let's say the toxicity level was dropped and you were just sort of pushing up and up and up.
Right now,
assuming it's a work in progress.
Yeah. So right now I'm the most regulated I've ever been.
Yeah.
Things don't rattle me, like all of the dynamics that are playing out through family dynamics, all that kind of stuff. Like there's storms left, right, and center, but I'm the most grounded that I've ever been, and it shows because I'm able to lead a community. I've got like 17 clients inside of a community. To hold space for that many people, in a group format is quite challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
So. Yeah, and this is the thing that trips up a lot of my high achievers that come to me. I've got like surgeons, Fortune 500 executives, like pretty high up people. And they're like, oh, fucking hell, I'm getting triggered again. Like, fuck, I got triggered again by such and such. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, and so, well, you know, I shouldn't be. I've been doing this for 6 months now. I was like, again, there's the should statement. And what most high achievers think is that, I'm going to come in, learn this thing and never be triggered again. And I'm like, guys, and I'll lead usually my sessions from my triggers. Guys, this is what happened on the weekend. I had a rupture. This thing blew out. Client came, they left. This is what I made it mean. And I work through my stuff in front of them. And then I say, where's this happening for you right now? And then a lot of them, it clicks for them after a while where they're like, this is not about never being triggered. This is actually about having the tools to know how to regulate through the trigger and navigate and then get closer to home each time. So that's the work in progress. The beautiful thing about it, though, is that something that happened to you, you know, these big events or whatnot, you can neutralize them and they'll no longer have a charge in you. But there'll be some things that surface. So what used to rattle you for months or years comes down to weeks, to days, to hours. And I say to clients that you'll have half a dozen things disappear. You'll be like, oh my gosh. Like, and you won't see it straight away. It'll take time where you're like, oh fuck, I'm not even reacting to that anymore. Holy crap. And then now it's about acclimatizing to that new frequency, because remember, the nervous system wants to go back and recreate what's familiar. So when things are going well and we self-sabotage, it's because things are going too good now. My body's not used to this. I need to go back and create the chaos that I'm used to, because that's what's familiar. So we go back into those patterns. So when things are going well, now it's about grounding ourselves in. Part of the work is healing the trauma. And then part of it is, when you got to climb Everest, you've got to acclimatize at a certain level. You can't do the whole climb in a day. You can, distance-wise, you'll fucking die. But you've got to go to first base, second base, sit there for a bit, acclimatize, come back down, and then go back up. And the same is true when we do our trauma work. We've got to regulate the nervous system and get it used to success, get it used to close relationships, get it used to money. Because if we don't recalibrate to that environment, it's going to want to pull us back into...
Man, you just triggered a fucking memory. And this is a big thing about where I wanted to change for myself. So my old man was like the most just person, as far as like never sat on the wrong side of the law, did shit by the book to his own detriment, yeah? And he had the shortest fuse on the fucking planet. So if something set him off, it was done. Like, dude, all bets are off. Like,
yeah.
Fuck if it's Arnie, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like, this cunt doesn't stand a chance, right? I remember going camping. I must have been like 10 or some shit. We're in Jarvis Bay. And, you book out your lots, like ahead of time. Yeah. Jarvis Bay was like the fucking... You had to book like 60 years in advance to get into there, right, for the summer. So we've done that. We were going there nearly every summer. We've gone down one year. They booked like this lot. They fucked up. They didn't have the right lot, so they gave us a smaller one, whatever. The old man does his usual thing where he sets up the tarps, fucking like makes a fortress on the fucking site, because these Greeks...
Standard walk specs.
Yeah, it's not enough to leave the house. Yeah. Now they've got to recreate their house on a fucking camping ground, right? It was fucking insane. But like, he's built this fucking fortress with his tarps and shit, and they've come down, the rangers have come and said, hey man, you got to tear that down, like it's too big for the lot. And the old man's like, you cunts fucked up. Like, we were meant to have a different lot. This was never singled out. Oh, well, if you've seen section 32 of the second fucking paragraph D, blah, 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 any dwelling, this and that. And the old man's like, you cunts fucked up. Like, this is as best as we can do. There's fucking high winds. We were meant to have a bigger lot. What do you want? And I remember, like, it was like a yelling match, like hard, right? They ended up taking, like, he went to their fucking headquarters, like up the hill, had some meeting. We weren't there, had some meeting, basically grounded him into like, into smithereens. It's like, nah, like, we're not fucking budging. Go fuck yourselves. And he said to me, I remember him saying something like, we can stay, like, however it is, but I guarantee you, my name's going to be blacklisted 100%. Like, we're not going to be able to come back here, right? And I remember thinking about it, like, he wasn't even at fault. He was only working within, like, what was in front of him. Yeah. But he just went about it the wrong way. Yeah, like, he fucked up. They would have seen this angry fucking wog. And thought, fuck this cunt.
Fucking send him back home.
Literally. Literally, man.
Well, you would have been able to make peace if you put the gyros on and then, everyone come!
Sit down! Start just shaving meat off the fucking thing. Dude, that's what we're doing every night.
Yeah.
But I still remember looking at that. I wouldn't have been in high school yet, man. So I would have been like 10. And I remember looking at that saying, I can't let that happen to me. Like, I need to fucking be able to deal with this sort of shit. So when we were in Vietnam, like, over December and Jan, airline fucked up. They brought our flights forward, didn't notify me.
No.
So we got to the airport, flights already fucking gone. No flights again for the next 24 hours. Yeah. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? So I started going through the thing. Like, dude, when did you notify me? Oh, here. I go, that's not my fucking email address. Like, what the fuck? I've got, all these other people as well. Like, what's going on? I'm like, fucking hell, man. And I'm getting agitated, right? Because they're just giving me the thing. And I was just like taking a step back. I'm like, all right, cool. Logistics mode dim. It's like, all right, sweet. So where are we going? All right, I've got to fucking circumnavigate. Let's just go to Hanoi now. Let's fucking accommodation. I'll sort it out. We're going to have 4 hours before the next flight. Sweet. How much? Next flight? 800? Done. My credit card. Fuck it. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Sat down and like reviewed the damage. I'm like, all right, so it's like $800 more. Yeah. Fuck it. Like, cancel a few bookings. Didn't lose anything else. Show rolls on. Like, that's it. I can't let this derail like my whole fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I hear you. It's easy to adopt the old strategy, though, right? Dude,
I could have turned into the fucking, like, a knight.
Yeah.
Just start slaying cunts. And it's shit like that when I know that I'm in a better place than I was, like, 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's going to keep creeping up. That 100%. Psycho. You know what I mean?
It creeps up to be resolved. It just wants to be met. That's the beautiful thing with the shadow. I call it the shadow. It's our younger selves, that part that surfaces. It needs to be met, it needs to be validated, and then it gets integrated.
Can I ask, who's the oldest client you've ever had?
60s?
60s? What was their background?
Aussie, Russian, tradie, developer, Russian, priest.
Priest?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So...
How does that reconcile with priests, man? Because they're all about faith.
Yeah, well, this ties into faith. Like, this work helps you get closer in alignment with yourself, which then actually strengthens your relationship with whatever religion you're in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because when all this stuff's in the way, you don't actually have access to higher source. This is all about higher source work. So a lot of faith is like, okay, surrender and whatnot. But if you've got this conflict, what ends up happening for a lot of people with faith is they suppress this other part of them, that bad part of them. I've just got to do good. But then they ignore it, which then whatever we suppress gets expressed in unhealthy ways, which is why we have all of this other stuff, this dark cloud in religion and whatnot surface, because there's a lot of suppression of all of these other things. And a lot of people are like, this is what the book says. See, there's no alignment there.
That's my problem, right?
Yeah?
Like with faith-based systems, right? Whatever your faith-based system is, right? I don't have a problem with it, right? As long as it grounds you to be a better person for yourself and your community, blah, blah, blah. But what shits me is when you use it as a crutch or you use it as a mask to avoid dealing with fucking all the shit that they never... Dude, 2,000 years ago, they weren't addressing mental health, man. They didn't even know it wasn't a concept.
Time for it.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, dude, the book can tell you everything. It has all the answers, but it doesn't tell you about Instagram.
Well, more people were occupied back then and were doing physical work and had to work. And the more you have to do that kind of work, it's more somatic. So people are moving, whereas a lot more of us are, sedentary, sitting down now and having to be in here versus...
Dude, data entry. The job data entry is literally you being a minion in a fucking cubicle just doing this. That's all you're worth, man. Data entry.
Yeah.
It wasn't a job. That wasn't a career or an entry-level job. And you know what's crazy? These data entry jobs have got entry-level qualification requirements. Like,
fucking
look, what are you talking about, man?
AI is going to change that now.
Oh, dude, it's fucked. All gone.
Mate, that's even like to people that are doing degrees and have got, their, what do you call it, hex to pay? It's like all of that information from a degree is just online now.
Oh, it's 100%.
Man, it's crazy.
But again, adaptability. Society's going to change. You need to adapt.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
Yeah,
I've had this argument in so many different levels, man, using so many different fucking things as context. It's so fucked up. Hang on. One thing I was going to ask you was endorphin hits from social media and shit like that. What's your rules on social media regarding like your kids and what do you reckon?
They don't have. My son's got a device.
Yeah.
For school, which was surprising. I was like,
oh, dude.
What do you mean he needs a fucking...
Dude, no more books. No more writing, man.
Yeah, no, he does it, but they've got certain apps and shit on it, so there's a timer on it and all that. And then when he comes home, they're never on it, man. They've got a lot of free play. I've got a little basketball. There's an epidemic at home now with this dual basketball ring with a scoreboard thing.
Oh,
shoot.
Forget it.
Fuck, man. It's on. We're all involved.
You're pushing the glove away.
You're grabbing the ball out. No, that was my ball. But there's a lot of creative free play at home. They've got the chickens and the veggies and that. But they're the devices. So I've got my tablets for work, and I explain to them every time I'm on here. I'm like, I'm using this to make money. This money is going to this holiday, to that food, to that thing there. So I am very much trying to condition them to not show them that the screen is more important than them, that it's part of what I need to do to help people. And I get him on my calls sometimes. But yeah, he's got his iPad. He'll use it at school, whatever scheduled time. He's got reading eggs and educational stuff on it, and that's it. No surfing the internet, no kids YouTube, none of that stuff.
What about your clients, man? What about your clients and the endorphins they receive from social media hits and shit like that? Do you actually have any sort of lean into that, doing your breath, like all yours? Because, man, that just compounds, yeah?
Yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, even I catch myself in the consumption sides of things at night to defrag. Like, I get off a coaching call after 2 hours, and I'm kind of wired. I've been delivering. And then it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'll be on my phone for half an hour, 45 minutes, just like, it's my way of compressing, which is not healthy, because then I have a shit of sleep. So I just tell them where I get stuck. I get stuck in it as well, and it's just around setting parameters. So I've got this hour timer on Facebook, but I've got this thing where I've got to be on those platforms. So it's like, fuck, all right, so be on it to monetize and to have presence, and try to binge less is my thing, So I'll just tell them, find a routine that works for you. So the whole notion of my program is, don't do what fucking works for me. Do what works for you. So live a life by design that works for you. Don't follow somebody else's fucking blueprint. You've got your own blueprint on what works for you. So here's what works for me, and here's when it doesn't work for me. Find what works for you. Try this routine. If it doesn't work, go to that routine. Are you somebody that really needs more structure, or do you need a freestyle within a framework? Like, think about what lights you up according to your vision, according to your values, and then, because a lot of people are asking, like, should I do this, should I do that? It's like, the fucking answers are here. If you sit with yourself long enough and go, what do I really want to fucking do? Do I want to do that? No, actually, you know what? I think I'd prefer that. Now, the risk is, what if I do that and it doesn't work? Well, then you've just worked out something. So it's like, open that door, that doesn't work. You go to the next door until you find what works.
I got one last one for you, man. All right. How did people around you receive this whole thing that you're doing, from starting your business to being the online presence and then starting to talk to people about this sort of shit? I mean, you would have shifted, like, mentally in regards in your relationships and your frameworks, because people, they could be your best friend for fucking 20 years, but then you start identifying shit. It's like, nah, man, I can't be around this anymore. How did it change your view of people around you, and then how did people receive you differently, or if they did, and your support for your businesses?
Interesting. I became more compassionate towards people. Jackie's like, you've got so much patience. She's like, fuck this person, fuck this person. And I'm like, but I can see all of the stuff, and if you spot it, you got it, as they say. So it made me become more compassionate, but then I also started to attract people that wanted to emotionally dump on me. And so I found myself being a resuscitator for a lot of people, which is a natural empath type thing where you naturally draw people that just like, and this happened and that happened and that and that and that. But with friends, some friends were like, cool, whatever, not really taking much of an interest. Some would, joke, the coach is here, or hey, just breathe, but they've got their own stuff. And others are kind of, have changed their lives. They've like, kind of like, fuck man, hey, what do I do here? This is, the one thing that I have observed, though, is that since I've been speaking a lot about relationship dynamics and parenting, it's been quite polarizing for a lot of people. Yeah. When I've started speaking about how you may have an unresolved trauma and here are the signs, and then I start explaining the signs and people start going, fuck, or how I start talking about the whole polarity dynamic in a relationship, masculine, feminine, and how the roles can reverse and how it shows up in relationships. A lot of people won't like my comments or my posts, so the engagement drops a lot, because anyone that is, and it makes sense, if someone comments or says, oh, that's amazing, they're pointing out to the world that that's a dynamic that's happening in their home, and there's a shame and there's all of that. So I've noticed people that are having relationship troubles in my circles distance themselves a lot more because they don't, make sense. And then I'm getting other people randomly message me like, yeah, I saw that post, but what if this and what if that, and, so it's triggered something within them. So, yeah, it's fun. I only just recently observed that. I'm like, oh, fuck. A lot of people have distanced themselves from me. And it could be as well because maybe there's a part of me that's coming across judgmental perhaps, or that, I ask certain questions like, hey, how you going? Like, how you really going? Or they're just afraid of, having to reveal.
Okay, I got a question. I got one for you. Scenario for you. I want to know how you'd handle this. Yeah, without knowing your stance on this, right? This came up. It's probably come up a couple times in different scenarios. So I'll amalgamate everything. How would you deal with this circumstance? You are in your own home. You got a couple groups of friends over for dinner, and different personalities within the groups, right? At the table, woman sitting across from you pulls out to breastfeed her kid. And they're sitting, and there's some conservative heads at this table.
Yeah.
This is in your house.
Uh-huh.
How would you deal with this situation?
Well, at least she pulled out a breast. I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, Daddy pulled out something. No, legit. Seriously. How would you deal with it? Knowing everything
it's actually happened at my house because obviously when we were having kids, wives, friends coming over, and then they need to breastfeed their kid, and then I walk into my lounge room like, oh, pooed out, okay, hey.
I'm not talking about, hang on.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
hang on. I'm painting a picture here.
Yeah.
Dinner table. Yeah, You're literally sitting at a horizontal fucking table. There's, let's say, 5 couples sitting around the table.
Yeah.
I'm sitting where I'm sitting, you're sitting where you're sitting, bird next to me literally pulls it out. And we're not talking about, like, swaddle fucking scarf. Yeah, like, And it's in your house, yeah? And this behaviour has never been exhibited before. I didn't get up, like, the bird didn't get up to walk away and do something like in the bathroom or bedroom.
You didn't get on the boob.
I'm just a party to what's going on, man. I'm trying to eat my steak.
You got a permit for that?
Pass the salt, man.
Shit.
I love it. You ignore that. What do you mean salt?
The baby's like, I just had a tequila shot, man. I need to wash it down.
What do you mean salt? You don't like my wife's steak? You're like, what do you mean? No. I want to know how you would deal with it, considering you're in the know of conflict. You're in.
I'd probably make a joke. I'd diffuse. I would read very quickly who's.
I'm telling you,
I would read very quickly who's like on.
There's people at this table that are conservatively minded and they're fucking visibly uncomfortable. What would you do
in that moment? In that moment, I would probably say something along the lines of, "Well, everyone's got to eat." You know? Like something like that, right? There would be some kind of joke. But the reality is that in that moment, what's being brought up is not so much the conservative approach, but there's something that's unresolved that's being brought up in those people. Like, because it's like it's a confusing thing, the boob. On the one hand, it feeds you. On the one hand, we're like,
it's sexualized.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like this.
Those crazy eyes are fucking creepy. Remind me never to go for a trip.
Oh, fuck. So, because it puts you in an interesting dilemma, because look, if it bothered me, then I'd probably say like, hey, like I appreciate that the baby needs to eat. We're at the dinner table here. Is it okay if you just wander over there?
That's what I'm saying.
If it bothered me. But it wouldn't bother me so much.
It would look.
So I'd be like, but if I noticed that it was bothering other people, it's like, oh.
You're the host.
Yeah.
And there are people visibly uncomfortable at the table. That's what I'm saying. How would you fucking handle this?
Look, I'd probably, if I saw that, without trying to turn it into a big thing and then upset the mum and all that kind of stuff and try to be diplomatic, it'd be like, I'd probably just lean over to the person and say, hey, like, is it okay if you just, back there, just.
If they reacted negatively, what would you do?
They possibly would, but...
If they're brazen enough to do it, if they feel confident enough in that space to do it, and we're not talking about... And this is the thing that got me, right? Because this has come up a few times.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. They should... if there was going to be a should statement, it would be like, hey, do you guys mind if I whip the boob out and, like, feed Bubba?
I'm just curious because you are mindful of, like, everything that comes with it. What are you laughing at? Oh, the Toledo Revolution. That's an ad for homewares, man. Yeah. It makes no sense.
It kind of does. Stay away from my kitchen.
No, legit. Like, I'm asking you because you are aware of outside of like one person's thing. You're aware of everyone else's shit. I want to know how diplomatically you handle it because it's come up a few times now, and I'm just curious. Hey everyone, if you've made it this far and you haven't already, please subscribe to our Spotify, YouTube and social media accounts. For every like you give our posts, a little Tibetan boy gets a new pair of Jordans. Don't forget to comment and let us know just how we're disappointing you. And now back to the episode.
Yeah, I would just be pulling the person aside. Like in that moment, it's like leaning over, like, hey, like, thing. Do you want to? Hey, I've got this. Or maybe I might not even say anything there. Be like, oh no, don't do it there. These chairs are not that comfortable. Why don't you come on this couch over here in this? You know what I mean? Like try to, and then in there just like, hey, like I really appreciate the baby needs to feed, but I think it's bring up a little bit of discomfort, maybe a little bit of warning would have been helpful to just say, hey, is everyone okay? Because I'm cool with it, but sometimes some people it brings up stuff for them and they're like not sure.
So I thought about it, and like my brain just went straight to like, are you fucking kidding? I don't know. It's that middle ground.
Without the forewarning, I think it's just a bit of like, but it shows the world that they're in, that they're just like, there's memes and like one chick on the plane. I don't know if you heard that story. She's fed her baby like privately, but then got up to walk, forgot to put her strap back. And, like, everyone on the plane's just looking at her and she's got her nipple out, walking up and down the plane, trying to comfort the baby. And, like, holy crap. So, in that mother's kind of fogginess. But ideally, it'd be like, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Next time, hey, just ask.
Curious. I don't know. It's weird because you sort of sit in a lot of different worlds. You're sort of balancing, like, new age, like, concepts, maintaining traditional norms and, like, traditional values and finding ways to communicate on it, like modern fucking thing while tackling inherently like.
I've had it happen to me, not at my home, like not at a dinner table, but I've had it happen where I've been sitting with people, friends, cafe or whatever, and then they've just gone, and I'm like, and I'm we're exchanging, no forewarning. I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, try to like stay like, like fuck,
don't blink,
shit, man, like,
no
warning, fuck,
It's interesting.
But then I might joke afterwards and say to Jackie, like, fuck, Thingo just fucking whips it out, like, fuck. Like,
I don't know. I'm curious. It's curious to me, man. Like, your whole thing, like, your whole vibe is like, dude, the breath work and shit like that, it's ancestral, man. Like, it wasn't invented yesterday.
Oh, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Meditation fucking goes back centuries, eons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're trying to communicate, you're trying to reach people via social media and like online and stuff like that, which is modern. You're using ancient techniques to deal with new age concepts like mental health while maintaining a base of organic shit that's been gone through centuries, which is still rooted in like fundamental, like, basic shit, which a lot of people are discrediting now. That's a minefield, man.
It's crazy. It is. It's what the task is removing the woo and blending modern science with ancient practices to the majority of the market is what I'm attempting to do. Like, I'm trying to bring this into workplaces.
Yeah,
so come in, do a reset experience on your team planning day, team bonding day. Forget an inspirational speaker. Forget that. You want real transformation and real change? Do a reset, a team reset, and then you'll start to see productivity rise, creativity, because when people are less in a stress response, creativity is readily available. Collaboration is readily available. Because what I found is people are waiting too long to address stuff, i.e. the relationship falling apart, children experiencing the trauma. Oh, now I better go do something about it. Like, they weren't able to.
You can't resuscitate it,
No, so I'm like, fuck, I've got to fish downstream. Yeah. I've got to go and go, actually, you know what, if I tackle it in the workplace and then they're getting forced to do it and work's paying for it, and then they're like, what the fuck was that experience? Like, holy shit, dude.
In your dynamic, man, of like clients and stuff, who would you find is the most receptive to all this shit? I've asked if there was pushback anywhere, but who are the most receptive? Who are the people most willing?
Executives, like business owners, parents, that have done people that have done personal development, and they're still stuck. That's my, because they know they're like they love personal development, but they're still stuck. They're like, fuck, I've done all this work, like I've achieved this much. Why the fuck do I still feel? And then I've got conflict at home, and things aren't. I'm doing well at my career, but I'm frustrated, and then at home, that's the ideal client. They can resonate with my dysregulation. Yeah, so they're kind of busy professionals, business leaders, business owners that likely have just started a family, or they haven't started a family, but they've just started a relationship, and they're getting deeper in the relationship, and all this stuff is coming up. There's constant conflict. There's feelings of insecurity, and they're like, fuck, man, like, tried therapy, didn't work. Or worked a little bit, but they still got this stuff that's lingering. That's usually
for me, man. This thing that I've been saying for like a decade now is the character refinement should be the number one priority for everyone till they fucking die. Right? We're never perfect, right? That's why I'm curious as to how many people that you deal with are on board with it. Like, they might have heard about you, liked your methods, blah blah blah, but once you start putting shit into place and it forces them to deal with it, how much resistance is actually there?
I've done over 1,000 consultations now in this work, like pulling somebody apart. And a lot of people will reach out to me and say, hey, dude, like, I want to continue. But then they have to confront stuff that they've buried deep. Yeah. And I get it. It's like, fuck, it's no easy feat. Like, part of my process of onboarding somebody, they've got to go through this onboarding sequence. And it took me 3 months to do this onboarding when I had to do it. Like, I just read one today. It was fucking 15 pages long. I had to read of their story of what they've kind of experienced, and it's like, it was a lot to process. Others are like, I don't know what to say, I don't know where to start, I don't even remember much. They've been through that much, and it's like,
buried it.
I don't want to go back there. Like, I'm trying to run away from that. I don't want to, like, so there is that, but it's meeting them where they're at, and it's recognized. Like, I've had clients pay me in full for my programs and barely attend.
Why's that?
Because they've got to confront stuff. And there's the excuses. I've got so much going on right now. I'm busy and this and they're in the storm still. Like, I don't actually have time for this. It's like, that's why you need it. So yeah, man, it's fascinating. I think the perfect client for me is the person that listens to my podcast as an example, and they go, "Holy fuck, I can relate."
Yeah. What is your podcast? I can't remember the name of it.
Functionally Addicted.
Oh, yeah.
Functionally Addicted, yeah.
You
And
really
then-
should start the Charlotte and Shaman.
Yeah. I'm telling you now, dude, can you please just like,
Yeah,
as a
dude,
test,
I've got
can we
like
do
8
this?
burner accounts.
It's the 3rd of February. Instagram, call it that faceless page,
Okay.
maybe, with you on the mic and just,
No, 100%. I'm going to look into it as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, it's fucking fascinating. What's fucking insane is that, like, I haven't seen you. I've spoken to you, but I haven't seen you in that fucking long. And I'm actually, there was all these questions I had going back like fucking when we were 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
And
dude. And you've got such a good memory, I have to say. Like your memory of things is just always like my memory of past. Like I've got glimpses, but that's because of my state.
Yeah.
But every time I speak to you, like, remember that? And then this time, and then fuck, remember that? And it's like...
It's sort of weird, man, because people say that to me as well. But when I'm stressed and I'm fucking under the pump, I don't remember anything. Like as in day-to-day, short-term memory is shot. When I'm really beyond repair, it's when my eyes start twitching and my memory goes. And my voice goes.
I cop the eye twitch too.
That's it. That's when I know, shit, you got to pull back. You got to take like a day or something just to chill. I feel like I remember a lot of things because there weren't a lot of things that I wanted to remember from back in the day. So the few things that were important to me, I cling to, man. Like, it's weird. Music triggers. Like, dude, yesterday I was driving along. I heard some tune that come up while I'm driving. And I'm like, fuck, that bass line reminds me of like this other track from back in the day. And I was racking my brain for fucking 2 hours. Got home. I'm still sitting there just searching online. Like, fuck, what was it called? Who was it by? Was it by Dr. Dre? Just random. And then I read a word somewhere that triggered me. And I'm like, oh, that's the fucking name. So I've searched that, found the track, sent it straight to my cousin. And I'm like, Malaka, do you remember this song? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we were like 18. I hadn't started driving yet. You had. And I remember coming to you. We were in Dramana for the summer and I had a CD.
You're going to say we're cruising down Chapel Street.
Dude, we were in Dramana.
Dramana's the next fucking proper.
Mornington Chapel Street.
Yeah.
And I remember the CD. I remember fucking handing it to you and you were pumping it like 24/7 because you had the subs in the XF.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't fucking remember it. I'm like, are you out of your mind, man? Legit.
That's the best.
I was shattered. I'm like, Malaka,
The subs in the XF.
I haven't heard this song in 20 years. I go, 22. And he's like, nah, man.
Fuck.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is, man, because I never saw myself getting past 30. And then when I did, I was like, all right, well, I guess I got past here. So, but when you don't you don't look past a month because you don't know if you're going to be around or where you're going to be.
Yeah.
You just cling to whatever you got, man. It's weird.
You're in a spot for a while, huh?
Yeah, man. Fuck. Like from shit. I mean, if you go back to high school and beyond, I mean, if you looked at my life, say 40 years, and said, when have you been actually happy or truly getting there? It's a really small percentage, man. We're talking like 10%, like not even, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting better at it because I'm starting to take stock of what I have actually achieved without like blowing smoke up my own ass. But I'm so far away from where I want to be, but at the same time, knowing that I'm building. It's just when you get burnout and you get the setbacks, there's only so many setbacks you can take, man. And like, I'm by myself, as in like I live alone. I work for myself. Like, I'm working for myself. I'm everything, the whole system. When someone said to me, why are you doing all this? I go, because I'm trying to catch up on lost time. I spent 30 odd years not believing in myself, 35, 5 years I've actually just started putting the foot down. COVID or no COVID, I don't give a fuck, man. I've changed my living circumstances exponentially in the last 5 years, despite a pandemic that locked us down, despite family shit, despite everything that happened. So I can look at it objectively and say, okay, well, I'm in a better spot than I am now. At the same time, things could be worse, but they should be better. Do you know what I mean? It's like you said, it's that constant battle of like, when is enough?
That's the thing. It's like, what's driving us, right? And
well, that's the thing.
you feel like you're playing catch up footy.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm making the turn. Like, I can see things that I've done.
Yeah.
And it's not material shit necessarily, but it's just like, what shits me is, we came from a culture where the only things worth doing was like getting married, buying a 2-story house and having kids. They were like
They were the milestones.
Yeah, they were the milestones worth fucking congratulating.
When you're getting married.
Yeah.
All that, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
At one point, me saying, I don't think I'm ever going to get fucking married. Fuck chicks.
Dude, they're the milestones that we got celebrated for. That was the accreditation and the thing. So when I turned up to Christmas and like in 2012, take 2012, yeah? December 2012, my cousin had gotten married in like June or July that year. My sister got married in December of that year. I threw the biggest fucking party ever for my birthday the week before Christmas. You know what I mean? That was my milestone. I had like 200 people turn up to this fucking club.
Yeah.
Blowout of the year, man.
Yeah.
People still talk about that night because it was like the last one before everyone got married, had kids and moved away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like when it turned up to Christmas and it's like, oh yeah, here are the photos from the wedding. Oh yeah, we got our photos back too. Dim? Like, huh?
Yeah.
I had a music video shoot yesterday and I got to get to the gym tonight. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but do you know what I mean?
Did you just have your 40th too? Is that what you went
December.
to Vietnam?
Well, yeah, I was away. I wanted to be away for my 40th.
Yeah. Nice, man. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man. It means fuck all. Are you fucking kidding?
What I was going to say to you, though, is this whole notion of catch-up football.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a part of you that didn't feel as though that you'd be here.
Yeah.
So, all things considering, it's like, whilst there's that part of you that believes that you should be further along and things could have been worse, it's like, well, you are where you are and you can't be anywhere else. Why? Because it's the only place that you can be. So, and I said this earlier, that when we have experienced different levels of trauma and our nervous systems are shot, just getting through the day is an accomplishment in itself. Like just waking up, and I used to hate waking up because I'm like, fuck, I've got to face and try to work through all of this shit. And then didn't want to go to sleep, always wanted to be around people, this whole, I need to be around people because, and it's like, I say this to my wife sometimes, I was like, babe, like sometimes just for me to get up and work out what I'm going to wear is like huge. Because sometimes my brain is so fried of all the processing of things. And we take that for granted. Sometimes we don't recognize that. And so given what you've gone through, have you ever taken a real proper moment to actually acknowledge what you've actually been through and where you are now? Considering that, I could be further ahead and I can catch up, but it's like, fuck.
Honestly, man, anytime I'm on my bike riding somewhere for leisure, as in not to a job, not to a client. If I'm on my bike and going to a client, it means I'm running late or traffic's fucking up the arse. Yeah, so I'm just like filtering. But if I've got like no gear on, just a helmet and shit, earpods like going nuts, and I'm just cruising, it's like, motherfucker, you did it. Like you're on a fucking bike just chilling. You know what I mean? You're going down St Kilda Road or Beach Road. You're not in fucking Clayton anymore. Anytime I usually cop it when I come to the studio because I've had this now for like 4 years. Half this shit was in my bedroom, bro, like growing up, right? But I've had so many cool chats here. Like, I love this place, yeah? Coming here, it's like, you got the studio. You wanted it. Like, it's not the way it was meant to be or how you thought it would be, but it's there. Shut the fuck up. You got it. When I'm in the first time I moved to South Bank, man, the first apartment I was in, I went from Hyatt to South Bank, and the first night I got there, like, it was chaos, dumping shit, blah, 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 blah. But I remember still opening the door and like walking out to the balcony, seeing the city, and I'm just like, "Fuck my luck! Like you live here.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? You did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's if I'm buying time, then so be it, right?
Yeah.
But you said, set the vision up, but learn to live it somehow now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And see glimpses of it now.
If you don't,
that is the hard part. Like seeing this and going, "Oh, well, it's not what it was," but it's actually.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, because if we can't, that's the challenge. If we can't appreciate or have gratitude towards what's arriving in the moment, then you may have the fancier thing or the whatever, but you won't actually be able to appreciate fully. It'll be like, well, this is not enough. It needs to be that. It needs to be that.
People that put this shit to the side, whatever it is, whatever that inner kid is telling you that you need to validate yourself just for a minute. People put it aside, like, the traveling, man. I broke it down to someone the other day. I've spent fucking nearly every 11 months I've gone overseas. The last, 24 months I've been overseas, 5 times.
Yeah, wow.
It's fucked. I look back,
mad.
like, how the fuck did I swing this? I did.
Yeah.
All right. and it left me. I'm still hand to mouth, but who gives a fuck? Like, I did it.
You don't know what's around the corner.
Exactly.
Things can
shit
change
changes
quickly, man.
When you
you won't regret. Like if family situation was to arise for you, you wouldn't be like, oh fuck. It's like you've failed, man.
Bro, like I look at the last 6 years specifically, and it's that's when I left the job that I'd been at for nearly a decade, and I didn't know it was coming. Yeah. And then, like, you unleash the next 6 years, so 2019, 2025, and it's like, fuck, man, like, I've changed, like, I said it to someone was bitching about something, oh, it's so hard, and blah, blah, blah. I go, motherfucker, I thought about it. I'm like, wait a second, man. I've changed jobs, like, 4 times in the last 5 years. I've changed apartments 3 times. I've fucking, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is child's play, man. I've had, like, 3 relatives close to me pass away in the span of 12 months. Like, give me a break, dude. Like, grow up. There's time for compassion, empathy, and then there's time for, like, you know what? Fuck you. Nah, I haven't got time for this, bro. So, yeah, dude, when it comes to, like, appreciating that sort of shit, anytime I go into my office, like, okay, so when I moved, I downsized my apartment to 1 better, and I got an office down the road, right? It was just the smart thing to do, get a bit more professional as well. When I actually set my office up, I killed myself to do it. I was moving it in the middle of the night with 1 trolley and my fucking car. Yeah. Right? 0 help.
By yourself.
Yeah. Right? So I'm literally getting home after work and then waiting till 10 p.m. when there's no building manager around so they wouldn't see me dragging shit through the main lobby. Yeah. And it's midnight and I'm just like hauling shit up fucking flights and whatever. When I finally got it set up, it must have been a week or 2 later and I was walking in through the front doors of the building and I just sort of stopped. I'm like, dickhead, in 2018, you started coming to this joint to talk to the guy that was mentoring you. And the first time I stepped through those doors, I was wearing, I still remember it, dude, ripped fucking like, cargos, pair of boots, dirty as shit, singlet, had my shaved head. And I looked around, cunts were just staring at me like, who the fuck's this cunt? Yeah, is he fixing the fucking, fixing the leak in the toilets or like what, man? Is he delivering something?
Yeah.
And I went into the lift. I'm like, fuck, man, I'd love to work in a joint like this, man. Like everyone's sharp. Everyone looks like they know what they're doing. And then, like, I managed to lease an office, with another, like, you know what I mean?
That's cool, man. Where is this?
In, like, St Kilda sort of area.
Yeah.
Near the city.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm leasing the joint. I'm not working for anyone, but it's my fucking office. I pay for it. I have to deal with the overheads, but I'm no longer in my bedroom anymore, man. Like, dickhead, pat yourself on the back. You know?
Takes balls, man.
Well, fuck,
Takes
man.
balls.
You can either, like, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not ragging on you or anyone like you, but like when people have kids, that's the automatic, like, yeah, this is what I've done. Here's my 3 kids. You know what I mean? That's the fallback for a lot of people. I'm not saying for you, but.
Well, when they came, I thought, my desire to pursue success will stop and it'll just be about my children.
No.
They came, I was like, no, man, fuck, this is not.
I got work.
This is not for me, man. Like, what'd you draw? Oh, that's great. Hang on, man, I gotta just put it on Daddy's wall.
I'll look at it later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, man. I was like, fuck, because I'd hear a lot of people saying, oh, man, it's about my kids now, man. It's like
the cowards.
And I was like, okay, so cowards. That's when that happens, this quest, it's like, fuck, mad book. I don't know if you've read it.
I'm going to find a quote.
Shit, The Way of the Superior Man.
Superior Man?
The Way of the Superior Man.
Bit on the nose, don't you think?
David Dider.
The Way of the Superior Man. No, it's all good.
Wife is like, where are you? We've got a guest coming over.
Where are you? Nowhere.
I'm in some, I'm locked up in some studio.
They've got me. Call for help.
But The Way of the Superior Man, you'll love this book.
Yeah.
It's short. It's not long.
What's not long?
100 pages.
No.
Not even.
Okay, I can do with that.
Short. Really short. Like this, like that.
Okay.
And thin. But powerful. There's a couple chapters in there about man, superior, how we should show up around women, our quest for accomplishment and whatnot, and this whole dance between family and all this kind of stuff. There's 2 chapters in there that you'll love. One of them is, I think it's chapter 3 or 5. It's live as if your father has died. Yeah. And if your father has died, it's like, and it goes through this process of what comes up, and this will be, I've had to go through it a few times. My dad's still alive, but I don't see him. Really powerful process. And then there's another component in there around this quest and this innate desire that we have as men to accomplish things and the role that a woman should play in that type of dynamic where there's this positive polarity that plays out. Fucking powerful book, man.
I tweeted this, dude. I'll never forget it. I tweeted this back in 2020, August 2020, and it was something had come up in regards to what you were just saying about having kids, I just live for my kids now, blah, blah, blah. Pathetic is adults who mask their personal shortcomings, cowardice, and inability by hiding behind their kids. So the ability to procreate is no excuse for apathy or complacency. You'd have to be being a boring cunt even without the 2.4 dependence. Right? It's the truth, man. Like, anyone that has all these not even over the top, anyone has any ambition that just fucking parks them because, there's a kid now in the family. It's like, dude, your inner kid was screaming to do all this shit. And what, now it's done?
The hardest part is, before we kind of wrap up, is that the hardest part I found is I started the business at the same time Jackie was pregnant.
Which is huge, yeah.
All right, 6 months' time, this business would be at a 50K a month run rate because I was successful in real estate. It would be running itself, and I'll have 7 staff, and we'll be in the Philippines, and fucking hell, it was all this. Why? Because I was successful in real estate, ran teams, knew how to sell, and I'm like, oh, this will be quick, easy. Fucking hell, 6 months in, I still don't know how to fucking turn on my computer.
We're about to go public on this thing.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is like, shit, this is exposing me bad.
You went to the fridge, took out a milk carton, and it was empty. Like, man, yeah. Fuck?
Yeah. Shit. I'll never forget my first employee. It was a friend's ex-girlfriend kind of thing at the time, ex-lawyer she was looking for work. I needed somebody to fill a contract for 3 weeks. Hired her, and she was really good. I was like, okay, I need an admin, gun, kind of whatever, keep me organised. And she was really structured, overworker. So I'm like, put her on full time. Won a few contracts, and now I'm delivering these contracts. But fuck, when you're delivering these contracts, who's selling the business? No one. I wasn't hunting at all. So I come up for air. 3 months go by. I'm delivery. She's still working with me, and it was coming around tax time. And I looked at the account. I'm like, fuck, I don't have any new business coming in. And then, like, my bank account had, like, I'd spent money in a business coaching program, the office I had in Chadstone, paying her full wage. And then I went into the account. I was like, fuck, I've got like 7-8 grand left, and that was her pay. And so I paid her because her pay was due, and I'm like, there's nothing left in the account. And I had to have this sit down with myself and like go, it's actually not fucking working. Like, I've got to now go and generate business by the time I get paid, and then start to sit down and say, hey, I've paid you literally like the last kind of amount. I've like lost focus of the ink that, and she's like, oh my gosh, and she was crying and devastated. I'm like, I'm not getting paid. I'm like, so huge. Like, I had to make all these mistakes and regroup, pivot the business again, pick up a different contract, rebuild, then hire some people in Manila. But it was, massive learning curve, man. And I could easily go back to real estate, and I've dabbled back into it to keep income going. Because it's like, I've got to do whatever I've got to do.
You got to dance, you got to do it. Whatever it is. Put on the hat and just fucking do it to get over the line.
But I haven't given up on the dream yet.
That's what people struggle with. They can't pivot. They don't know how to fucking reinterpret.
And not everyone should, though. That's what I've learnt too.
Yeah?
Like, some people should not pursue their dreams, like fulfill that fantasy, but not everyone's meant to be a business owner.
Oh, no.
Not everyone's meant to be like,
That's because they're not being real with themselves. Yeah. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. I looked at my last 12 months, and I was seriously low on funds. Like, fucking seriously low on funds. And even now, like, hand to mouth, at least it's not, I'm living comfortably, like, in regards to that. But I was starting to panic because I'm like, fuck, like, there's not enough there's not enough leads generated, not enough income generated ongoing. Because, like, obviously, I'm involved in a whole bunch of shit. A lot of it's like, what's it called? When it's forecasted, it's not fucking
delayed.
You might take a deposit, you might do this, but the income is going to come
6 months,
8 months, 12 months, right? Contract based sort of shit. And everyone's like, well, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. Why'd you buy this? Why'd you do that? I'm like, hang on, man. If you looked at my growth for the last 5 years, despite a pandemic, it wasn't bad. Like, it kept going up. Why should I set a benchmark lower than I was fucking 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm not going backwards, man. We persevere, we keep going. And so when I did and then I looked at it as an industry, and I looked at the economic climate, I'm like, the numbers are fucking accurate to the environment I'm in. Then I'm like, you know what? I got to do more voiceovers. You know what I mean? Start fucking hitting people up for voiceovers. I got to do more of this. I got to do more of that. You find ways to survive and keep going, where most people were probably like, no, fuck it. Like,
do you have a channel on like Upwork or one of those Fiverr for voiceovers?
Fiverr, I feel, is best left for like, it's a good platform. I used to use it a lot, but it's people are paying $5.
Yeah,
they want a voiceover that's going to be like, we need our it's like we need our graphic novel narrated. Our budget is $3. What?
You'd have a good story voice too. You don't have the people pay you to read their audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, I had someone tell me that I need to read an erotica audiobook. Because apparently, if you drop like this, she's sensually crossed the bedroom.
And he's a Saturday. And we won't go there.
Yeah. No, they said, but it's a very hard field to break into because they give those jobs to neighbours, ex-neighbours and fucking sports commentators, you know what I mean? Or ex-reality stars. It's fucked, dude. It's hard. But then, like, you'll get randoms like mates and things like that that'll be like, the closer they are to you, you'd know this 100%. The closer they are to you, the more they expect for fuck all. You know what I mean?
Remember that time I gave you my...
Dude, not even.
Remember that time I let you borrow my Game Boy? Come on, man, it's only for free, bro.
Dude, legit. It's and the people that don't know
and they should be paying the most, technically.
Yeah.
Like, it's like support
100%.
your friend, pay more.
The people that don't know you are the ones that be like, so what do you charge? What's your fee?
Yeah.
Dude, I've done so many voiceovers for people. It's like, oh, thanks, man. Like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? And if it's no big deal, then you do it yourself. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to do your shit for free because I got nothing else to do. I'd rather spend it taking a dump.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, I know you got a boot.
Yeah, I do.
I was going to say, fucking hell, man, nearly 3 hours.
I know. This was a session of catching up.
I think it was, an hour for every decade.
Yeah.
Hold up.